Hi, this is Anthony Aguiar, and I just want to say thank you very much for supporting indie filmmakers like myself. I make these movies out of passion, so your support really means a lot to me. Anyways, let's start. So this short began before the 2020 pandemic started, and it got put on hold because of that. And but finally, we got to make it. I'll just talk about the technical stuff up front, just so the tech people who wanted to know about that stuff, because I also like that stuff. We shot Pinwheel Park on a very small GoPro-like camera. It was a Sony RX0 II, which is a beautiful camera, and I think it's one of the best cameras of that size, the quality you get out of it. Now, what you're watching now is not the camera quality. This has been degraded to look like miniDV tape, which was this tape that came out in the late 90s and became really prevalent in the 2000s. And I shot a lot of the work I started out as a filmmaker on this format, this miniDV format. When I was degrading this to look like miniDV, there's a fine line between not making it look so bad like VHS, but not making it look as good as HD. And yes, it did hurt to have to make things look bad. And also, it was very important that this first half, even though I didn't shoot with a tripod, I shot with a camera that's basically the size of a GoPro, and I wanted to post-stabilize. So I wanted the first half to be very stable. You know, the way I don't know. It depends. You know, people imagine or have memories in a different way, but the way I remember things, they're more static. When we jump back to reality, I wanted to feel more handheld and more realistic, documentary-like in a way, and as if the dream is being erased. So, in terms of working with actors, we did 3 Zoom rehearsals of this film. The first one was the way I wrote the script. I did write a traditional script with dialogue, and the actors read through that. And what we did was, in the second rehearsal, we did a completely improvised version, and then in the third rehearsal on Zoom, we blended the two together. So we took the elements of what worked in the improv session and what was working in the script. And I can tell you now that we ultimately decided that this first half, this sort of memory of what happened on their first date, is mostly improvised. There are parts that they're following in my script, but this is mostly improvised, the dialogue from them. And then when we jump into the later part, we also become more scripted, more of the stuff that I originally wrote. What's important to me in terms of filmmaking is working with actors and making sure that everybody's on the same page, and really focusing on rehearsals. This was one of the first films of mine that I did not shoot a lot of takes on. I think each setup was sort of about 2 takes, and then we moved on because we had done all the work in rehearsals, that I felt confident in their performance. For me, I'm not a big fan of dialogue in films. I'm not a big fan of it, and so I always tell the actors that the emotion is more important than what is said. Now, this upcoming transition right here was very difficult to do, just in terms of trying to make it look seamless and not show this ghosting effect that can occur around actors when you do that transitional effect. And I'm really happy the way it turned out, because it's a very subtle thing, but and there's Mandy being as great as Mandy always is. Mandy Brown, she's one of the best actresses I've ever worked with. She's so good. And this is the first time Ileana Contreras, the actress who plays the younger one in the relationship, ever really acted. And I think she did a great job. You know, she's always been a friend of mine, and I finally realized that, you know, I was sleeping on a great talent. So I said, hey, let's just try to do this together. This is her first time acting, and I think she does a really great job. And the thing is, there's a fallacy that you shouldn't work with your friends, and I think the caveat is you shouldn't work with your friends if your friends are not taking your work seriously. If they are, then you should take them seriously, because I think that cliche that people say that you shouldn't work with friends, or You know, it derives from that you're forcing your friends to do something that they don't want to do, and then the result won't be as good. But if your friends have a genuine interest in acting, then by all means, because I always consider actors to be collaborators in my films. You know, they're not puppets.
That's what happens when people bury their dreams. They get cats. And then they just die. Just sign off on life.
And then this was the most difficult part here in the edit, is to find some kind of thing to, you know, culminate the ending of this film without saying anything, you know. And when she kisses her, we go back into the memory. It's almost Mandy's character, like her attempt to go back and try to pull from that nostalgia of their first meeting. And this kiss was done in 2 takes. We choreographed it to make sure that nobody got hurt. I told the actors that this is not going to be a romantic kiss. This is going to be like a violent act. You know, a lot of short films I see, particularly in the LGBT genre, you know, where it's just very happy and you know, nothing bad happens, and you know, and it's great. We need those types of films, but I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to show that, you know, the reality that people aren't perfect, that you know, love is hard, you know, relationships are hard, and to show the reality that, and I can't think of a better way to represent us as in the LGBT community than to show us as real human beings. Anyways, that was Pinwheel Park, and thank you for watching.